Welcome to Life Stories, where the truth isn't just painful, it's engineered. Imagine building a life so precise, so flawless, that every detail holds, until one message destroys it all. What if the betrayal didn't come from enemies, but from the people you trusted most? Your wife, your brother, maybe even your children. This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's about strategy, revenge, and the terrifying clarity that comes when love turns into calculation. What would you do if the people closest to you weren't just lying? They were trying to erase you. Stay with us, because what starts with silence ends in a reckoning that no one saw coming. Now let's step inside the world of Nathan Blackwell. The rain fell in a steady whisper against the glass, draping the Seattle skyline in a veil of gray that felt too perfectly timed. From the 34th floor of the Evermont Tower, Nathan Blackwell stood in silence, the glow of his laptop casting sharp lines across his angular face. He was a man made of exactitudes, polished suit, minimalistic office, a desk without clutter. The kind of man who designs skyscrapers not just to scrape the sky but to defy it. At 43, Nathan had built more than towers. He'd constructed a life of structure and legacy, CEO of Blackwell Engineering, father to two promising young adults, and husband to Claire, an art curator turned sculptor, whose studio sat nestled in the backyard of their Mercer Island home. 17 years of marriage, some of it smooth, some of it edged with silence. But it worked, at least he thought it did. Until today. The email had no subject line, no signature. Just a single sentence and a timestamp. She's not who you think she is. Check the guest house security feed from last Saturday, 2:17 p.m. Nathan stared at it for a long minute, fingers hovering over the keyboard. His first instinct was to dismiss it as spam. But something about the precision of the timestamp, the lack of melodrama, it mirrored his own style too closely to ignore. Claire always said the guest house was sacred ground. Her studio, her escape, her silence. Nathan had respected that, even as their intimacy dissolved into polite routines and unanswered questions. He never intruded. He never checked the cameras. Until now. By the time he pulled up the feed, his jaw was clenched so tight he could feel the heat behind his ears. The interior footage was gone. Cameras disabled. But the outer property lens had caught enough. A black BMW with license plates that Nathan knew too well. Eli's car. His younger brother. His best man. His business partner. At 2:17 p.m., the car pulled up. At 2:22, Claire walked out of the studio in bare feet and a silk robe. She kissed Eli the way she hadn't kissed Nathan in years, with hunger and familiarity. They didn't leave the studio for 4 hours. Nathan didn't breathe. He sat completely still, but inside, something buckled. Not rage, not even sorrow, but something far colder. Calculation. The kind of quiet that precedes demolition. The kind of silence he used before rejecting a structurally unsound foundation. His phone vibrated. Logan, his 21-year-old son studying structural design at Stanford, had texted, "Flight changed, landing tonight, want to surprise Mom." Nathan almost smiled. Logan was like that. Loyal, straightforward, still believed people meant what they said. But then a thought hit him, sudden and sharp. Was Logan surprising Claire? Or had Claire planned to surprise Nathan? The second buzz came before he could finish that thought. Jess Harper, his longtime private investigator, was calling. "I started looking into Claire and Eli like you asked. Nathan, it's deeper than you think. This isn't just an affair. There are joint accounts, transfers from your company, meetings with your engineers. Something's off with the Horizon Tower project. The structural reviews are being rewritten." Nathan's voice was a low whisper. "They're framing me." "I think so, and it's not just them." "What do you mean?" There was a pause, then Jess dropped it like a match into gasoline. "Your daughter Riley's been meeting with Eli too, and she's withdrawn funds from her trust. Large sums, disguised as a scholarship donation." Nathan's mind fractured into pieces, each one sharp, logical, and falling into place like steel beams collapsing in sequence. The woman he loved, the brother he raised. The daughter who once sat on his shoulders during building site tours. All conspiring. He stood slowly, heart beating with the steady rhythm of a countdown clock. He called Caleb Rhodes, his attorney. "I want a full audit of my personal and corporate assets, and I need preliminary divorce papers. Don't file. Not yet." Trouble at home? Not trouble. A breach. Then he called Drew Mercer, the hacker who once owed him a favor. I need undetectable surveillance set up. Phones, emails. I want everything. Christ, Nathan, you expecting war? I'm not expecting it, he said flatly. I'm designing for it. That night, while Claire slept next to him, peaceful, unaware, Nathan stared at the ceiling and made a mental list. He would not confront. Not yet. Architects don't destroy buildings out of emotion. They dismantle. Piece by calculated piece. He had built this life. He would design its demolition. What they didn't know was that Nathan had prepared for this possibility years ago, after a legal dispute with a former partner nearly cost him everything. A clause in the company charter. Proxy votes. Hidden leverage. He wasn't just going to defend himself. He was going to turn their conspiracy into a case study in catastrophic failure. But what chilled him more than the betrayal itself was this. He wasn't angry. He was focused. And that made him dangerous. What would you do if the people closest to you plotted your downfall? Not just your reputation, but your sanity. Can you still believe in family when every word, every hug, may be part of the plan to break you? Claire and Eli thought they had built a perfect trap. But they forgot Nathan Blackwell never steps into anything he didn't design himself. Continue to part 2, where the foundation begins to crack. Rain still lingered in the air the next morning, clinging to the windows like fogged breath. Nathan watched Mercer Island blur beneath the curtain of mist as his car glided silently over the bridge into Seattle. His reflection in the windshield was all clean lines and controlled fury, not rage, not grief. Something deeper, something colder. He had always believed truth was a foundation, solid, measurable. But now, truth came in fragments, a kiss captured on camera. A joint account discovered in hidden ledgers, his daughter's silence. The meetings that day passed in a blur, boardroom pleasantries, contract reviews, a site visit to Horizon Tower, where he stood before a concrete skeleton that now looked more like a warning than a triumph. His engineers avoided eye contact. His assistant Jenna hesitated before speaking. Eli stopped by the office this morning, she finally said. Nathan turned. Did he say why? Said he wanted to make peace. That you've been under a lot of stress lately. He left this. She handed him a thick envelope. Nathan opened it slowly, half expecting another betrayal. Doctored blueprints, a legal trap. Instead, it was worse. A formal letter signed by several senior engineers questioning the safety of Horizon Tower's foundation. Echoing Eli's concerns, demanding a halt in construction. His grip tightened. Not because he hadn't anticipated this. He had. But because of one signature in particular. Daniel Keats, his former mentor, the man who'd once called Nathan the sharpest mind this firm has ever seen. Nathan stared at the name like it was a wound. That night, alone in the guest house studio, Claire's sanctum, he stood among her sculptures. Fragmented torsos, disjointed faces, abstract bronze bones. He'd always pretended to admire them, though he never truly understood her art. Now, they looked grotesque. Muted echoes of the chaos she had brought into their lives. On her desk was a small notebook, open, careless, or intentional. He hesitated, then picked it up. He never sees me anymore. Sometimes I dream of disappearing and wondering if he'd even notice. Eli listens. That's all it took. There it was. Not a confession, a justification. Nathan closed the journal carefully, then sat down. His hands trembled for the first time. Was it possible? Had he pushed her away? With his silences, his obsession with precision, his tendency to retreat instead of reach. He thought of their last anniversary. He had been late, in truth, forgotten, and made up for it with a new car, like a man throwing steel at a crack in the wall. Claire had smiled, thanked him, kissed his cheek, then spent the evening alone in her studio. He hadn't asked why. A sound behind him. He turned. Riley, his daughter. Mom's upstairs, she said softly. I told her I was going for a walk. Nathan stood. He hadn't seen her since Thanksgiving. She was thinner, older, the nervous smile gone. I wasn't sure you'd come, he said. I almost didn't. Her voice was brittle. I needed to see if you were okay. I am. Are you? I don't know, she admitted, then stepped closer. Dad, I need to tell you something. He waited. Uncle Eli offered me a full-ride scholarship from a foundation he said you approved. I didn't question it. I should have. I found out last week the foundation doesn't exist. Nathan said nothing. I've been meeting with him and Mom. They kept telling me you were losing control, that you were erratic, that you were dangerous. And did you believe them? I wanted to, she whispered. It made things simpler, but last month I found messages, between them, about having you declared unstable, sent away. I think they were going to do it, before you could stop them. Nathan felt the air in the studio shift like the room itself exhaled a secret. I'm sorry, she said, tears slipping down her cheeks. I didn't know who to trust. Nathan moved toward her and placed a hand on her shoulder. You trusted yourself in the end. That's what matters. I have the messages, Riley added. The emails, voice memos, I backed them up, if you want them. He didn't answer right away. In her voice he heard shame, but not guilt. Her betrayal, if it could be called that, wasn't rooted in malice. It was the product of confusion, manipulation, and maybe his own emotional negligence. I don't want you in the middle of this, he said. Not anymore. I already am. She looked around the studio. This place was supposed to be her sanctuary, but now I can't tell what's real in here anymore. Her art, her lies, it all blurs. Nathan nodded. He understood, better than she knew. They stood in silence, two people sifting through the wreckage of a life they both thought they understood. Is Logan okay? She asked. He's arriving tonight. Early. I haven't told him yet. You should. I will. Riley hesitated at the door. Whatever happens next, I'm with you now. I need you to believe that. I do. After she left, Nathan sat alone in the dark, surrounded by the fragments of his wife's creations. Outside, the rain had returned, tapping softly on the roof like it was trying to whisper something he wasn't ready to hear. But the twist had landed, and it struck not in the betrayal, but in the realization that he, too, had played a part in the collapse. Not through malice, but absence. Through silence that had become louder than any lie. How far would you go to repair what's been broken, especially if part of the damage was your own doing? Nathan thought he was building his defense, but what he was really constructing was a reckoning. Don't miss part 3, where the storm finally breaks. Nathan hadn't slept. By the time Logan's flight touched down just after midnight, the wind had picked up, rattling the glass of the Evermont Tower suite he now used as his personal war room. The floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of a city on the verge of dawn. Towers piercing fog, streetlights casting long, fractured shadows. It was a view he used to draw strength from. Tonight, it felt like a quiet warning. When the elevator doors opened, Logan stepped out, still in his travel clothes, duffel slung over his shoulder. He looked tired, but more than that, alert, different. Nathan hadn't said a word in the message asking him to come early, but Logan had agreed without hesitation. Riley called me, Logan said as soon as the door shut behind him. Nathan nodded. I figured. She told me everything, the fake scholarship, the trust withdrawals, Mom and Eli trying to have you committed. Nathan's jaw tightened. Do you believe her? I believe you, Logan said, and I believe she finally woke up. That surprised Nathan more than anything else. Not the betrayal, not the conspiracy, but the unwavering conviction in his son's voice. Logan, who'd always been gentle, idealistic, was looking at him now with something deeper, clarity. I read your project reports too, Logan added. I pulled the engineering logs, I saw what they changed, and I saw the digital footprints. Everything points to Uncle Eli. Nathan handed him a folder. These are the originals. I've submitted them to the city. They're suspending Eli's credentials. Just trace the edits back to Claire's IP address. She actually did it, Logan whispered. She tampered with your work. She enabled it. Who made the changes? She provided the access, the motive, the cover. Logan sat heavily in the chair across from him, rubbing his eyes. So, what now? Do we press charges? We already have. The feds are investigating the accounts, their offshore transfers. Jess found a second phone Claire used to communicate with one of the engineers they bribed. That engineer is now cooperating. Logan was silent. Then, and Mom? Nathan hesitated. That question was no longer about legal ramifications. It was personal and complex. She left the studio this morning, packed a single suitcase, didn't say where she was going. You let her leave, I watched her go. There was a pause. You still love her, Logan said. Nathan closed his eyes. Maybe, or maybe I just remember who she used to be, and I don't know where that person went. He stood, walking to the window, his hands folded behind his back. You know what hurts the most? What? I can't tell if I should be mourning the betrayal, or the fact that I didn't see it coming, that I let it grow like a hairline crack in concrete until it broke everything. Logan joined him, looking out at the skyline. Maybe both. Then softer, but maybe it also saved us. Nathan turned. We were drifting, Logan continued. You and me, Riley, even Mom. This forced us to look up, to really see each other. Nathan didn't respond, but the look in his eyes shifted, just slightly. The tension didn't disappear, but it settled, like the way a foundation holds, even after the tremors. A soft knock at the door startled them both. When Nathan opened it, Riley stood there, eyes red-rimmed, rain in her hair. She came to my dorm, she said. Mom, before she left, she asked me to give you this. She held out an envelope. Handwritten. No seal. Nathan stared at it, then motioned for both his children to come in. The three of them sat on the leather sofa as he unfolded the letter. It wasn't long. Nathan, I won't ask for forgiveness. You won't give it. I know that now. I think part of me always knew it. Even as I lied to you with a smile. Even as I told myself that Eli made me feel seen, when really, I was just trying to punish you for making me invisible. But you weren't the villain in our story. You were just absent, and I didn't know how to live in the spaces your silence created. What I did was unforgivable. I see that now, and I will carry it, always. Tell the kids I love them, even if they never speak to me again. Tell them I'm sorry. That I'm so sorry. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was the sound of a story closing. Nathan folded the letter carefully, set it down, and looked at his children. Logan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Riley watched him with a wariness she hadn't let go of yet, a part of her still waiting to be heard again. She's gone, Nathan said quietly. But we're still here, and I don't know how we come back from this, but I want to try. Riley's lips trembled. Me too. Logan nodded. Outside, the sky was breaking open. First light hit the glass, like hope dressed in gray. Nathan stood, then opened the safe behind his desk and pulled out a rolled blueprint. He laid it flat on the table. A new design. Clean. Simple. Honest. What's that? Logan asked. Our next project. They studied it together, not as a broken family trying to rebuild, but as partners planning something stronger. And in that quiet moment, something unspoken passed between them. Not forgiveness. Not yet, but something close. How did this story make you feel? And what part resonated with you the most? Comment 100 if you felt this story was powerful. Tell us what country you're watching from. We'd love to know. Share this video with someone who would appreciate a story of strength, betrayal, and quiet redemption. Thank you for watching Life Stories.